The support I get talking about some "you're a top 5 creator right now" is genuinely so nice, and the fact that it even gets like thumbs ups is crazy. But nowadays, F7 is riddled with M7 LARPers. If you clicked on this video, you're either trying to learn Purple Yellow, otherwise known as PY, or you just want to see if my guide is even relevant. My name's Ascent, and welcome to my Floor 7 tank guide. I'm making this video in an attempt to help revive Party Finder and help people join lower Kata M7 role parties. If you're under Catacombs 40 and you hate this video because I'm hurting your F7 parties, you're literally the reason why Skyblock Party Finder is dead. If you're over Kata 40, then you can hate. But also, like, why are you even here? If you want to do M7, just look for an M7 guide. Otherwise, this guide is perfect for you. If you find anything in this video remotely helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you left a sub. I make guides for all types of players at all stages of progression, so if you want to join me in helping thousands of players enjoy Skyblock just a little bit more, that'd be awesome. But yeah, with all that yap out of the way, let's get into the video. So in this video, I'm going to be going over what tanks do during the clear phase, and then also what they do during the boss phase. I'm also trying to be as realistic as possible, so I'll be joining a group in Party Finder instead of my own dedicated 5-person group. I won't show the entire run as I'll cut out the boring parts from clear, but I will be showing basically all of the boss phase because that's really where most of the knowledge comes from. Also, right before the run, I'm going to do some pre-gear discussion, as well as some other things that I find pretty important, but that'll be most of it. So as for the armor you're going to wear, it actually depends on what Kata you are, because it's based on how well you're able to survive. As for me, I'm Kata 38, so I will be using 2/4 Necron with Maxor. But if you are, I think, under like Kata 36 or 35, I recommend using a Goldor set, that is 2/4 Goldor, and the Maxor's boots. If you don't like it, you can just convert it later on when you're higher Kata, but Goldor is recommended at that point. As for the helmet, I have a Spirit Mask, and if you want a Spirit Mask, you can like sneak your way up into M4 and get one. The drop rate is actually bugged, like I'm very certain, and it's much more common than it should be, so if you want one of those, go do that. I recommend getting a term before sneaking into those parties because you will be absolutely sat on. If you don't want the Spirit Mask, you can use the Bonzo Mask and also the Golden Head from Necron, but it is up to you. It's just preference. I use the Bonzo Mask, but you know, I've seen people use the Necron Head. It's, again, all preference. Again, if you are using Goldor, I recommend using the Giant Reforge, but if you're on the Necron set, use the Ancient Reforge. I have Legion on mine, but I've seen people use all Last Stand. Again, I don't think it's that serious on what you use. I just have Legion because I have a Terminator and I want more stats for the crit, but if you are just using a Juju, then, you know, Last Stand 5 on everything it works. As for the equipment, use the equipment set that's like for dungeons. This is from floor 3, floor 4, floor 5, and floor 6 respectively. Again, I have it on waxed due to the crit chance I need for my term, but if you are using a Juju, just do whatever you want. I don't think the Reforge is really that important. As for weapons, ideally you're going to want a hype or a term. I don't have a hype, but I do have a term. But again, it's ideally, you don't need either of them. If you have a Juju, a Giant Cleaver, even like a Spirit Scepter, they're all fine. Again, with Terminator, you need about like 1.1k magical power for the right crit chance, but if you are using any other weapon, 600 or 700 magical power is fine. Again, it's F7, the requirements aren't, you know, that crazy. As for the pets, I actually use a Golden Dragon for clear, and then for the boss phase, I use the Turtle pet just for more survivability, but I'm pretty sure you can use, you know, like Wither Skeleton, Golden Dragon, Lion, Tiger, Griffin, like anything works, anything that does damage. I've also seen that survivability pets are great, like the Whale or the Yeti. Again, it is just preference on, you know, how much you're struggling, but those are the pets that are available. Some pretty important utility weapons that I recommend, and honestly, I just changed it to say you need these, are the Dungeon Breaker, the Bonzo Staff, Wither Cloak Sword, Overflux, Florid Zombie Sword. You can have the lower versions as well. Any block, I like a chest, an Aspect of the Void with the Ether Warp. You don't need it, but again, it would help. And an Obiphone in case you want Trinity's Contact. I don't use a Gloomlock Grimoire, but it is a nice utility item to use when you're low. Again, it's all helpful, but you don't need this one. And a Dungeon Potion is really nice. I use it 50-50 because sometimes I just don't have one, and I'm in a good party, so I don't want to say downtime. I'll just, you know, continue the runs. It is helpful, but you don't really need it. Now, outside of the gear and the like nice things to have, if you are joining a party as a tank and the description doesn't explicitly say M7 roles, I'd recommend you ask whether you're doing purple yellow or green and yellow. You can just say PY or GY and people will understand. It's just good because you don't want to be doing something that not everyone's coordinated with, you know. Now, if you want me to be fully honest, I'm pretty certain that purple yellow doesn't save that much time, but you know, anything for the PB, I guess. Now let's actually get into the run. So here I'm just looking for a party in Party Finder. I find this suspicious looking party called sub 5, you know, whatever, and I ask, PY as I recommended, because it wasn't explicitly said if there was M7 rolls, but the kata was kinda high, so I asked. This guy says he'll try. I think he was a dupe tank, so he got absolutely blasted. And the guy says yeah, so I say okay, and then he just explains that he just, you know, demolished that guy because there was a dupe. So it's at this point that the run starts. I low-key forgot, and he didn't really ask, so he just went in, so I had to pull up the recording real quick. But just to be clear on what the instructions are, ignore what I'm doing because I was low-key not focused at all. But the main point of the tank is to clear and do secrets. And just as some etiquette and not really like tank specific advice, when you are clearing, make sure you go in areas that there's no other people. Like for example, you don't want to follow a guy while he's clearing and doing secrets because it's kind of inefficient. Whereas if you kind of split off, like there's a room with 3 pathways you could take, don't follow the pathway that someone else is taking. This just makes clearing faster, secrets faster overall, but you know, if you already knew that, then just ignore what I'm saying. Also, usually what I say in my dungeon guides is to clear first and then do secrets, but the thing is, you need a lot of trust in your teammates here for F7 because the floor 7 is huge, so like when you break off from your team to help clear, once you reach the end of like that cutoff, like when you split off and just continue through the rooms, once you hit like a stopping point, you should just start doing secrets because it's kind of assumed everybody is doing secrets, and it's also assumed everybody else is clearing as well and doing their secrets. This run wasn't as great because somebody skipped the higher or lower puzzle, but again, it's not that deep. If you see an empty room that isn't cleared, just use your Spirit Leap and do it. So starting off with the Maxor phase, Maxor has like a proximity based aggro system, so all you have to do is be close to him. You don't have to shoot him at all. So if you just stand near him, he will come towards you. I come over here and lead into the beam. I accidentally fell off. You're not supposed to fall off, but just if you do, come back up. So just as a note, if you hit Maxor under half HP during his first like laser hit, he comes enraged. I have no idea how to actually not hit him past half, but the way I handle that is I pop my Castle of Stone with my Q ability, and also the moment the Maxor phase starts, I put into the party chat, hey, if I'm low, can you please wish me? I tell it to the healer. Now heading into Storm's phase, I Spirit Leap to the Burrs, usually he's standing near purple yellow. If he's not, then just walk over. And I come over the purple pad using my Bonzo and I raise the pillar all the way to the top, and then I let it fall down by 1 tick. It's at this point you just sit here and do nothing. Prepare your Wither Cloak Sword. I don't do this because I'm like super smart, but you know, when it counts down to 0, pop the Cloak Sword. Now here's the important part, wait a tiny bit and then walk on to the pad to lower it and then walk towards the netherrack stairs. So the logic behind this is you need the pillar to be in motion in order to proc the hit. It has nothing to do with the actual hitbox, it just has to be going down within a certain time period right before it hits him. And then you can leap to your mage and then lead him towards the yellow pad. Personally, what I do is I damage Storm just a little bit to help out the mage in case he can't, you know, one-shot it. It is then at this point where you are going to leap to your healer because he should be in the first phase of Goldor. And as for the designated terminals that you're going to do as a tank, for the first phase of Goldor, you are going to do the first and second terminal at the start. I personally, after I finish, leap to my mage just because he's always in a good spot. As for part 2, you're only going to do terminal 1, and then just make your way over to the end. And then for part 3, you're only going to do the first terminal as well, and then make your way over to the end near the gate. And at this point, you're going to want to hold out your Spirit Leap. This is because your mage will be at the core, and the reason why it's important to warp to your mage is because the part 4, it's kind of hard to traverse through the first section, and if you just warp to your mage and the core is like in the middle of the terminal area, you will have easier access to your terminal, which is again the first one. Finish that, and then warp to the mage again to enter the core instead of having to jump around to get to it. And then once you're in the core and everybody comes in the core with you, Goldor will come in quickly, and this is where it's low-key smooth sailing. You don't really do much as any class after this point. I say healer would go down and break the floor. All this does is if you break the floor a little bit early in like a square pattern, it prevents the floor from breaking down under, so you're able to Bonzo staff quickly to the middle. This doesn't happen, and I also missed the Bonzo staff to get there quickly, but again, I think it's all style points. I don't think it really matters. Just DPS down Maxor with your best weapon, and that's the entire run. I do want to say in this recording, I believe the mage was making up for the healer or the archer that disconnected, so he was doing the terminal. But usually your mage will be in the core sitting there by the time you finish your first terminal. I just want to reiterate because it didn't work well in this one, but I think that was the only mistake that happened in this run. Everything went pretty well, again besides the DC, and it might have been a 7-minute 30 run, which is a super great PB, but you know, it is what it is. And yeah, that's the end of my video. I know that run was low-key genuinely absolute butthole, but to be honest, I'm glad I didn't get a perfect run because it kind of shows you how painful F7 can be despite most people doing their roles correctly. We had a guy who DC'd in the middle of Goldor due to like rage or something, but it kinda worked out. Again, just to clarify, this video was meant just to be a nice beginner guide to simplify F7 tank, but allow you to do your M7 rolls as well. If you found anything in this video remotely helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you left a sub. All the support that I get helps push my video out to more people in need of some basic guides. But yeah, with all that yap out of the way, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.